Perfect. All the Black Friday shoppers be shopping. Now we're in it's the second week of shopping. Yeah. Everybody just spending all their money.
Dude,
Perfect.
it was some great sales, and dude, everyone I know was buying tons and tons of stuff. So, um, I haven't
Stock.
seen any of the numbers, have you?
No, I haven't.
No, like from like Black Friday and Cyber Monday stuff.
Yeah, usually it comes out that Monday or Tuesday,
Yeah.
and really haven't seen anything. So that's interesting. It's usually like a big thing.
G Pi at JFDI though. So what should we tag? SPY, QQQ, Bitcoin.
Yeah, totally.
Sure.
There we go. We're off to the races. Hi, gentlemen. Let
What's
me
up?
tweet it. Let me tweet it one time, and now that I stock twatted. Um, how's it going? It's we missed last week. My apologies. Had some family stuff come up. I appreciate the flexibility and being able to handle that. But we're here now. We're talking this it's a red market again today. I'm just looking over there at the screen. We got the Qs and spies down incrementally, but some of the individual names are taking a bit more of a hit. Uh, Nicholas, what do you make of such talk?
My current opinion was like I came into the week kind of I was one hoping for a red Monday, and two I was hoping for kind of a chop week. Um, I wanted one more week of just sideways chop. I feel like we're gonna rip into the end of the year still,
Okay.
and I'm kind of in the camp that I think a lot of guys are, or at least some guys in that we kind of chirp with that like we're gonna see some type of, I don't know, correction, sideways action, January, February, March. I mean, my dream scenario would be a good like 6 to 8 weeks and let some of the names that are like that have gone stage two to really kind of like set up like whether what however they set up flags, wedges, bases, and kind of set up for like another like higher um you know quarter two, quarter three of next year. I don't, as over what's happening like right now, it kind of looks to me just like there's nothing that stands out where I'm like, oh fuck, like we're this is like a rug pull. I just think we're doing some like kind of backfilling right now.
Yeah.
Um, Definitely still seeing a lot of like high flyer, I don't know what you want to call them, like fad names, like today or the last couple days, those like the uh, what do you call it? The quantum computing names, like all those were like just, I mean, they're on a fucking tear. Like RGTI is up, was it 50% today? I don't know if QUR, but AI. There's plenty of stuff to trade actively. And for the active trader, I think the market's been phenomenal. If you're looking, maybe you feel differently just as like a longer term investor. Yeah, no, on the flip side, I think we should have been anticipating a lot of chop in the crypto space as Bitcoin kind of pushed into 100K. Whether or not you think it's going to 150 or 200, whatever it may be, I think you had to anticipate, chop coming in there. And I kept thinking to myself, I'm like, dude, they're gonna rip this thing through 100. I kind of thought that they were gonna rip it up to 110. Um, but I can only imagine like this, like the men or the brain mess of guys that are like either chasing it through 100 and then all of a sudden like, oh my god, it takes out 100K and now it's going back to zero, or like whatever that mindset is. Um, So I don't know. I still think the crypto space in general, I think that like we're getting ready to see like a monster run in the altcoin space, like the ETH and under. I don't know how exactly. I haven't really thought through a whole lot of if thens and how they're like kind of setting up. But if you look at a lot of them right now, they're pulling into like the 20-day, the 50-day. Some of them are kind of like retesting base breakouts. Um, if those base breakouts start to fail, then I'll definitely change my tune. And like so, like Bitcoin in particular, I think it's actually going to undercut this most recent base and pull into the 50-day. Just being that the way that the consolidation looked, the break above 100K was you if you consider that a breakout failure, I'm going to assume that the low is going to get undercut as well, and then I'm that's kind of where I anticipate or where I'm thinking that we kind of put in a low and then rip the other or rip higher. It's just kind of what I'm thinking right now. Again,
GP,
I'm
what's your what do you got? What do you got, GP? What are your thoughts?
All right, I'll break it down by yeah, I'll break it down by the things you were talking about, Nick.
yeah,
Crypto, I think you're in a space where Bitcoin has expanded its market cap by a massive amount. It's nearly 2 trillion. So what you're seeing right now is that Bitcoin and altcoins are both. So Bitcoin is essentially raising it's all tides rise, right?
yeah,
Tides rise, raise everything. So what you're seeing is Bitcoin has done its thing, right? It's had a huge move, and now people who are in the crypto space or actively trading are like, okay, well, if crypto's got its mojo back with Bitcoin leading, let me start putting money towards to work towards all the altcoins, right? So you're seeing a lot of bifurcation these days. Bitcoin goes down, altcoin goes down, Bitcoin goes up, altcoin goes up. There's not this typical correlation, and that's all rising tide lifts all things, right? So that's what you're seeing in the crypto space. And now, well, this is my opinion, of course. So now what you're gonna see is Bitcoin, which will have its final kind of move up and out of here, which ultimately I think the first stop is 120, and then you're going to get to 203, and then it's going to top out. Would love to see it by the end of the year, but as soon as you see that topping out scenario, that's when you're going to start to see the altcoins start to really push out. So right now, I think they're building bases, they're buying up stuff, they're volatile, so they're trying to shake you out. That's what I think is happening in crypto, right? So this is this is a stage one kind of accumulation pattern.
accumulation. That's what I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So, and then in the regular markets, I think you're seeing what we've been talking about for a while now, which is rotation. Mega caps had their final kind of push up higher. Some of the mega caps will continue to push higher, like Apple or Tesla or something like that, right? But overall, I think you're going to start to see weakness in the mega caps going into at least OPEX of next week, if not into year end. Um, that's my personal opinion, and you're going to start to see the rotation back into small caps, which had a huge move up out of elections, have consolidated for like the last 3 or 4 weeks, and bam, tomorrow is a CPI report that comes in. You're already seeing it today, which started really strong in mega caps. Everything was running hard, and small caps opened up pretty down. It is now the only index that has gone green, and everything else has gone red. So I think you're starting to see that, and you should see small cap outperformance into the year end personally, or at least into OPEX next week, right? Saw a bunch of medicals being sold for end of December, the 620, 630s, or whatever. You have a 3 week tight in the small caps while they ran up mega caps. So you have ultimately you have rotation, and rotation is the lifeblood of bull markets in general, right? And for the last 2 years, you have seen Qs, SPY, and Dow completely outperform the small caps. And unfortunately, Tesla's in the small cap categories. Tesla is still, Netflix has hit all-time high, Microsoft has hit all-time high, Apple has hit all-time high, NVIDIA, uh, Meta, Amazon, Google. The only one that hasn't is Tesla. And the run that I think is going to happen in Tesla here is probably going to dwarf any other projections that you guys have or most people have here. I think this is, we talked about this on Tesla earnings. The only two times in its history Tesla has broken out of consolidation is an earnings re-rate. There's no elections. You can talk about Trump, you can talk about whatever the fuck you want to talk about, but it was an earnings re-rating. They came in back to back, gross margins coming back up. They're back to they are back to growth. And once they get back to growth, you see earnings re-ratings coming in and you start to see this outperform. So that's my personal opinion. I'm short NVIDIA. I actually added more shorts today.
Great trade.
Huh?
It's a great trade.
Yeah, and I've been long Tesla for as long as I can remember, so that's what it is. But I like the crypto space. I think they're giving you an opportunity to load up in MicroStrategy, in Coin, in some of these miners. You're kind of seeing them flip from red to green today. You're seeing some consolidation going on here. Bitcoin is testing the first time in 2 months the 20-day, which typically, Nick, Ben, the first test of the 20-day in a rising uptrend is usually viable. And if it isn't, there's something bigger wrong with this picture. So I am not in any. I did take some Microsoft calls today, thinking that Microsoft will do what Google did today, right? Just kind of push towards all-time highs, but I cut them. I took a small loss on them and I cut them. I don't. I I don't think mega caps are the place you want to be in the next couple of weeks. That's just my opinion.
Would you then anticipate, let's say, if we're gonna run into the end of the year, would you foresee money start to rotate back into mega caps like into January?
Going into earnings time frame, that's my thought process, right?
Sure. Okay.
So let's say first week of January, year kicks off. Remember 2022, we had like a couple of days that were green to start 2022, and then boom, the whole
Yeah.
market just reversed. So I think you can potentially see that happening in the first week of January. Small caps start to top out here, and then you see a reversal candle, and then you can see then outperformance maybe in the mega caps, right? Like, so these guys have been stellar. They are a source of funds. There's nothing wrong with these stocks. Yes, some of them might be a little bit higher priced than the other based on PE. There's nothing fundamentally wrong. But if we're going back to the crypto conversation of rising tides lifts all things, why the fuck hasn't small caps risen, right? So the money that's got to come out of these names is a source of funds, right? And it's not going to be a ton of money, so I don't think it's a bigger kind of move down mega caps. I think it's just underperformance versus the names that are going to outperform over the next, let's say, 2 to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Long-winded answer, Ben, but I thought that I don't know if it gets clear on my stock twits post or my Twitter post, but this is what I wanted to see today, which was a complete reversal of strength going into CPI and PPI. So, and what we got, dude, if it comes in really hot tomorrow, the whole market could shit. So,
I'm I love to play devil's advocate. First off, we'll just put that out there, right? And I'm still selling stock. I'm still selling positions. When we talked about this sometime in mid-November, I said, in my opinion, I think the stock market can go higher, but I don't like the way things are shaping up. and I'm selling stock. I'm selling out of positions, and you can call it risk management. You can call it whatever you want to call it. Um, but I I see signs of flashing. We're getting too hot. We're getting too hot. Um, Whether it's the hot to a meme girl coin, all the screenshots that I'm seeing across social media of portfolios and gains. We're seasoned. We have all seen this play out before. Does that mean that today is the top? No. Do I know when the top is? I do not. It's not going to be a long-term top, right? But this feels really late 2021-ish to me. And I'm not saying it plays out exactly the same, so I'm trying to make my word be careful with my words. But I don't foresee us making it through January higher than we are at the end of December. That's just my take. I look at the 2 and 10 almost every day. The 2 and the 10 are basically trading at the same level right now, um, which gives me that pause of that there's going to be an inversion. Nick, I agree with you. The altcoins are going to have a run, and altcoins have run big, and they've also pulled back big in the last 2 days.
Yeah.
I just think that it's things are too hot right now. Money is too easy, and people are patting themselves on the back and giving themselves their own BJs because how well things are doing. Not because they're good traders, not
Oh,
because that they've done anything wise. It's because everything is going higher right now, and that's great. I'm making money off of it. I'm glad you guys are making money off of it. I just don't have a rosier outlook, over the next 6, 8 weeks. I wish I
6 to 8
could.
weeks. I can see that into like the January, December conversation, right? But um, there's a lot of talk. What you just mentioned, which is that 2021 type market, 21, 22 type market was actually the exact opposite of this. Uh, Everything was getting destroyed, and mega caps continued pushing the indices to a higher. In this case, we are not getting everything destroyed. We are now breaking out of base breakouts on stocks that we don't have SPACs. We don't have Chamath selling his bullshit all over it. You don't have SpaceX going to 5 billion and then 3 seconds later Chamath is selling his entire position.
Virgin Galaxy, not SpaceX.
Oh, sorry, not SpaceX. Virgin Galaxy. Yo, I'm gonna make the poor people rich. I just sold my entire stake. Sorry.
But you do have a lot of that in the crypto space. That's the hot to a girl that
Crypto
I'm telling
fine,
you.
but
That,
crypto has
that's
been.
that's the 14-year-old who rug pulled everybody for $70,000 by creating his own coin. That's the point that I'm making. Like
But that's
there
all,
are
right?
those things happening out there.
But that's all, and that's only like you're talking about rug pulls and all. They're on massive scales. Ripple, all that stuff. These are small, 50 grand, 70 grand. That's nothing. 550 million. How bad was the rug pull on XRP when it happened, right? Like the altcoins are when you start getting to that level of rug pull, that like multi-hundred million billion dollar rug pulls, those are the ones that we should be like, all right, time to step
I
back.
mean, if you bought a Hawk to a coin, I, I'm sorry. I think you deserve to. You gave your money away.
Sure, but Nick, it's not the asset that one's buying. It's the speculation that's
Oh,
going
sure.
on and how easy it was to make X amount of money, and I've got to take a screenshot of it and share it with social media. And
Yeah.
I have
Okay.
seen more TikTok furus in the last 72 hours than I did all of 2024. There's a lot of TikTok people who are out there actually giving advice, right? Who are actually giving content every day. And I see that stuff. But then all of a sudden, there is a tremendous amount of this is the next altcoin that's going to go 10, 50x, right? Like That doesn't happen in normal market conditions. We've seen this before. That's all I'm saying is we've seen this before. I hope I'm wrong. I pray I'm wrong. I hope I get
No,
to use half of the cash that I'm taking in right now and put it into new investments because I was the dumbass who sold too early. But I'm not going to let these gains evaporate off the table.
mhm. And that is the sentiment that is literally across the board. Like any seasoned trader who's been doing this for a long time is saying those exact same words, and the tales of prudence and caution. We've been here, we've done this, all that stuff. I don't disagree with you. How could you not take profits when things are running, right? So that's not the conversation here. But my conversation is not looking 2 to 6, 8 weeks out. I'm talking about a bigger picture conversation here is you have these base breakouts essentially starting, right? So in Square, in PayPal,
Square
in
ran like crazy.
right? Square ran like crazy, but it's also done nothing in 2.5 years.
Right.
Right? So Tesla still hasn't gone past all-time highs. Even today, can't get to all-time highs. We are speculating the shit out of this market, hop to this, hop to that. Yet Tesla can't take out all-time highs. So I think what I'm saying is I hear you on your concern about Trump and Elon and all that other stuff from a couple of weeks ago. I hear you on all this stuff, and that's all short-term stuff. And what I'm saying is, if you look past those 2 months, the unless all these base breakouts fail miserably,
Yeah, that's kind of how
you're
I'm
No,
into it.
I'm
you gotta
not.
be long, you gotta be long this market, not necessarily mega caps, right? It's the base names that have done jack shit. Like look at Disney, 10 years of doing absolutely jack and shit and a little bit of more. And it is still look, even Disney can't even take out the recent pivot here, right? So I to me all this stuff is setting up for a a pretty solid move higher. It just may not be in the names that you want them to be in.
My
That's
my
all
six
I'm
to
saying.
eight weeks isn't that okay, business as usual at the end of 6 to 8 weeks. I think we've got 6 to 8 weeks of still maybe enjoying the upside, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no,
I
giving you
think
my other side. That's all I'm saying.
I think these breakouts can easily turn into failed breakouts, and I hope they don't. But that from the sentiment that I'm seeing, we are way euphoric. I haven't looked at the fear and greed index, and I don't know how long in such a long time, but I guarantee we're in extreme greed right now.
I
I
don't
think
know
we're neutral.
if in the crypto space, I would agree with you. I think it's more or less contained. I think that the extreme excess is contained to the crypto space. I'm not
Oh, it
seeing
is
that so
neutral,
much
GP.
across the equity board. And if anything, God, it takes one fucking day and it's like all of a sudden every bear is out. You know, like
Well, that's another point, Nick, and I'm glad you're making that. These cycles, as we've talked about over the few years that we've been doing this podcast, these cycles are getting shorter and faster, right?
yeah,
Like it doesn't take a full, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6 quarters for an entire cycle to play out anymore. We're seeing cycles happen in weeks, right?
sure.
Like we're seeing rotation happen in days as opposed to having to deal with these cycles that last a very long time. So
It,
it's going to happen quickly.
mini cycles, right? But these cycles are not like, dude, NVIDIA started its cycle in September of 22. It topped out back in like the summer. It has been topping out and distributing. And while that was happening, Tesla was bottoming, right? So maybe in some of the spaces it's 2, 3 month cycles, but I understand why you're selling. I'm not chastising you for it. I'm trying to give you the other side, which is where I think we're going, and I think it's gonna and you gotta do what's right for your family. You gotta do what's
I
right
hear you.
for your
I
portfolio.
pray you're right. I have, as soon as I made this comment a month ago, I was the first one to say that I hope that I am wrong,
Yep,
right?
yep,
Like I
absolutely.
hope I am wrong. I hope that your thesis plays out and mine does not, but I'm not seeing anything to persuade me to that other side.
Fair enough. All right, let's talk regular stocks
How
then.
about let's talk a bullshit stock that I'm a big holder of that is doing awesome. AMD. Look at that turd. You know how much I love Lisa Sue. I know
You
you're
know how
short.
much I think chips are distributing out.
Yeah,
So
I do.
like I
Nick,
keep seeing, and dude, the thing I keep seeing about NVIDIA is the same things that we saw about Tesla in 21 and 22, which is, oh my gosh, there's still growth. Oh my gosh, it's still cheap. Oh my gosh, the PE is only 40, whatever, whatever, whatever. And you are seeing that across the board, especially in NVIDIA. People are like, oh, it's still cheap. People are like, hey, this is a great buy. Their growth is going to be around forever. And then what happened to Tesla within, I think, months?
Where
Growth
would you
went
be?
to
Where are you looking to cover your short?
for Nvidia. I would like to cover under under August lows, but that's me. I don't know if the market's going to be that nice to me, but this is like you had the top at 140.76 or whatever that level was, right?
like
Back in
92 in the 90s somewhere, GP.
I think I posted it, but hold on, let me see. I'm gonna pull it up. Right?
Well, yeah,
So
not 92 or
so
9069 was the low.
in June we topped out, right? June we had the topping candle, the big breakout monster reversal. If you go to the daily, right? That June candle there, right? You had this continuation candle and boom, reversal, took out the whole candle from the prior day, closed at the lows, and then died. And I spent the last 4 months, 5 months, kind of pushing back towards that all-time high, and is to me putting in a head and shoulders here, which we know that in bull markets head and shoulders don't work. So I'm not necessarily saying that, but it has now attempted to take out that June high. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times from what I can see, just quick glance. And each and every time it's been distributed out. So, but it's not heavy distribution in terms of volume. So I'd like to see it take out the August lows area, but I'm most likely in the camp that 115 to 120 holds, right? Like I said, I don't think this is a long-term conversation here. This is a
Yeah.
short-term cycle, right? So
AMD is sucking so bad. It's hard for me to even get any value out of covered calls. That's why I just told the chat, find a penny, pick it up is what I'm doing with
but
my
AMD,
position in
AMD is what,
AMD.
red for the year?
Yeah, it's red for the year.
It's down like 11%, right? So, um,
It's brutal.
yeah.
And you guys know I love Lisa Sue. We are
Would you be a
currently
buyer for?
at 13% down for the year in advanced micro devices. It could be worse, right? It could be 2022 and it'd be down 54%.
And so when I talk about NVIDIA, I'm not saying tomorrow it can't rip another $5 and go up. What I'm saying is what I have evidence here is short-term distribution here. It
Yeah.
has now multiple times tried to break that all-time highs, can't do it, establish an uptrend from August, and it's broken the uptrend, right? And if you're looking at all the other non-king names, right? NVIDIA's the king. They're all in distribute. Look at Lam Research. Look at AMD. Look at ARM. Look at Dell. Look at Oracle that's getting destroyed today. One by one, they're coming after them, right? Distribution in a 2-year cycle takes time. So just something to keep in mind.
While you were talking about IWM and Tesla, I did put the Batman ears on it. I don't know if you were paying attention to that while you were talking, but I did throw some Batman up there.
I did. It's possible that IWM fails, and that would be miserable. And I am going to write a I've been thinking about this for a couple of weeks now, and I think I'm gonna write an op-ed somewhere, and it's gonna be, or maybe I'll just do it on my own website. I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna talk about how small caps are an index designed for failure, and put some, like, you gotta catch their outperformance, and outside of their outperformance, they're a designed failure index, unlike the S&P, unlike the Dow, the um unlike the SPY, right? So we'll talk about it, but after 3 years, you would hope that it would outperform for at least a few months. It's possible that it's a double top breakdown. To me, the reason I don't think it's a double top breakdown is the volume bar that took it to all-time highs was massive, and then we have essentially on the daily, I think if you could look at it, I can't remember, but
I can pull it up. GP.
yeah, see, it's a pretty big, massive volume bar, and since then we've been essentially in this range. It's been like a 3.5 week tight. So to me, this is institutional came in and said we're ready, but we have not participated, so we want to make sure we accumulate, and we're going to rip it higher. So that's why I don't think it's a double top, but it's IWM. It's been miserable for the better part of 3 years, so anything is possible.
Yeah, I'm still holding on to my reentry of the TNA that I had sold and then bought. So it's still, I think, like around 15%,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's just kind of treading water. It's out there.
I entered January 250s, so in IWM.
Nick, what do you make of the VIX? I don't know how much attention you've been paying to the VIX, but I give it a glance every day.
Um,
And it doesn't seem like there's a lot of fear out there right now. If this were a chart that was an equity, would you buy that chart?
no,
That's the daily. Would you buy
yeah,
that chart?
no. I think for those that are anticipating, expecting whatever Santa Claus rally rip into the end of the year, I think that would see some type of like capitulation low. You see VIX around what, 10, 50, $11. Um, I don't know, maybe even undercut that. I think
Yeah,
you're gonna see,
yeah, I would think 11 or 12 bucks.
I think you're gonna see a lot of names get sold into that end of the year rally. I agree with GP. I think you have to be long. And my argument, or not my argument, the point that I would be stressing is being comfortably long. That means you're down to, runner size in your favorite positions. You've cut names that are, you don't have that much cushion, and I think just being comfortably long. Definitely, if you're on margin, you should be definitely selling down into the end of the year. Um, that's just kind of my take, but I agree. Like, and I think that's kind of how I've felt even pre-election. Like, I I think you have to be long, especially for traders, active
Yeah,
traders.
dude, we talked. How many times we talked about this? It didn't
Yeah,
matter who won the elections. The results are
right.
going to be the same.
No margin and no leverage, or just no margin.
I'd be off margin.
Yeah, I wouldn't be trading this in market. Are you guys kidding me? Like this is
Yeah.
like things drop 10% in a day in these low liquidity environments, especially into year end. Margin's not a good idea.
We don't know what the I call it the January effect. I use it as lazily as I use the 3 week tight. We don't know what, I mean, especially with the inauguration in January, I just don't think we know what the rotation is going to look like. And I'd rather be comfortably sized and being able to hold through that than be levered to the gills and have to puke up positions that are definitely going to continue to work even after we do kind of go into a base building period.
What new names or existing names are you either looking at, Nick, or would you like to add to your current position?
I definitely want to add to Palantir. I've been waiting for a pull-in on Palantir, and we just haven't gotten it.
Strong. It's strong. So strong.
I think same thing with like kind of all of those like Copang, Toast. I don't know. I'm definitely gonna be if we get a HIMS breakout out of here, I'll probably be selling down a little bit in that. Um, I don't know. Like I'm down to runner size in a lot of like big winners, so I don't all the like Jev, VST, VRT, Sedge, like I'd like to add to those. I've got such good costs that I didn't really want to like mess with it. Um, yeah, I'm kind of in a I did get involved in pretty much all of the quantum computing names. Just it was a kind of a momentum trade that ended up working, and I don't foresee those necessarily. Like I think those will be kind of like pop and fizzle out. I think the IBB and the XBI is definitely where we need to be
IBB and XBI.
focused going into next
Dude,
year.
if you're interested in those, you should be on KRE like it's about to give you another child, man. It's um KRE looks amazing, and financials in general look amazing,
Yes,
and
agreed.
they become huge beneficiaries of deregulation. And what you also want to keep in mind, Bags, this is to your point, is that the last sector to participate in secular bull markets
Financials.
are banks. And why? Because they're the last ones to get deregulated. But what that means is they'll do a lot of nonsense for 6 to 12 months to get their deregulation and make some shit tons of money and then make everyone poor. So the cycle is coming to an end. That's for sure. The question that will remain on everyone's views will be when, and that's the argument that's happening here until we see. And like I'm in your camp that we're in the conversation of late cycle conversations, right? Zero DTE, SPACs, crypto, altcoins, all this stuff is Michael Saylor saying what the fuck did he say? Bitcoin is going to 50 something million or whatever the hell he said. He's literally he's right. What he's doing is the quintessential conversation of this is not going to work for long. But in the meantime, it can still 10x from here, 15x from here, whatever. But if you're at 1500 and you lose 90%, you're still back to 100, right? So it doesn't matter where you get. So I definitely think this is late cycle stuff, so you should be cautious, but not until you see weakness in the banks, not until you see weakness in the regionals. And these, especially the regionals, they are just starting. It hasn't even taken out all-time highs yet, right? So
For real, he is an all-time pumper. Like he is an all-time pumper. And I'm not mad about it. You guys know I'm involved with crypto and I don't mind it going higher, but he is a pumper.
Oh, absolutely, dude. Now he's got Eric Trump pumping and all. So it's going to be euphoric for a while, right? And it was, when was GFC? 2008 is when it started. We topped out in early 2008 or so.
Yeah.
So same kind of time frame. But what topped out? Well, like the markets were already weak beforehand, right? So but the last ones to top out were the banks. and they were the last sector to pull up and stuff like that. So just something to keep in the back of your mind. But I just don't think we're there yet, and that's my personal opinion. And there will be a moment, and I think it's going to coincide with my S&P 771 call from 2022, 2023. Is where we start to get that topping out pattern. So that's the moment where you'll probably start seeing me talk about liquidation of things and going to cash. I'm not in that camp yet, though.
GP, what are you looking at other than shorting NVIDIA? Anything new? Anything existing?
So
Do
the existing is Wayfair, and Wayfair looks phenomenal to me.
Oh,
The
yeah.
accumulate. What's that?
Yeah, I'm with you.
And so
That's also your stock pick, correct?
it's
Yes.
also my stock pick. It's back to break even now, while your snow, my snow, um,
Your snow, my snow, doesn't matter.
has done well. But whatever our stock picks are, like if you're looking at the chart of Wayfair on the monthly, um, there's a shit ton of accumulation in this conversation. And if you go to the weekly, I think bags on
Sure.
Wayfair. No, monthly's fine. Actually, monthly was fine.
Okay.
So you see the inverted candle in 2020, the monthly breakout candle.
2020.
Yeah. If you go all the way to the top there,
Yeah, right
that
there.
green inverted candle, that kind of breakaway gap, and then that was the end of it's basically where it started topping out. That trend line you've drawn pretty much lines up with that breakaway gap, and we've actually broken through that downtrend. So you can see where it broke down in 2022. It just died. And here we are in 2024 into 2025. We are reclaiming. Yeah. Uh,
There you go.
yep. We have reclaimed that. So that started a glorious move down. I'm in the camp that with this accumulation, especially on the monthly, and that trend line break where we're going, is that this is on its, and I know I've talked about this for a while because of the accumulation, but I actually think it's ready now, more so than the other times where it could be a huge winner over the next 12 months or so. So I like Wayfair here. And a lot of times people ask me, like, do they actually sell anything? And I was like, I don't really care. All I see is people buying the stock. And if they're buying the stock, they know something that I don't. And if they know something that I don't, I want to be involved unless it completely dies, right? And so that's the camp I'm in here, and it's underperformed
It
for
looks good.
so long.
The chart
Yeah.
looks good.
Yeah. I also like Coin. I think Coin looks phenomenal, even though it acts like shit 97 out of 100 trading days. Um, Coin just looks phenomenal. I like Enphase Solars.
EMPH.
Yeah. ENPH. Yep.
Yep.
I like this. What else? I also like Disney.
You
I
like
think
EMPH better than FSLR?
no, but this one has more beta to it. So
Yeah.
FSLR doesn't have the same kind of. But I also really like small trend changes. Reclaim the weekly 9, right? That's what happened to Tesla in April, and the rest is history. And that's what happened to NVIDIA in September 2022, and the rest is history. So I'm not saying Enphase is all of a sudden solve some AI issue, but a simple trend change is all you kind of need on the weekly to get long and use that against it. So something to keep in mind. The other one is Disney. That's what happened to. If you look at Disney,
Yep.
so do the monthly, please.
Yep.
If you ignore the spike up during COVID, right? You're essentially, when Disney launched its streaming service back, I think when they first started talking about it in 2000, no, that's when they launched it, 2019. But they first started talking about it in 2014, 15, right? And ever since that moment, right, it was basically a big uptrend. Ever since that moment, it's been basing. So it's been basing for about 10 years now, in my view, right? I'm ignoring the spike up for COVID because that was an anomaly for most, right? And so I think they just reported that they're going profitable with their streaming after nearly 6 years or 7 years of launching it. They have pricing power. They're potentially going to raise. So I really like this. It also double bottomed this year. It went all the way from 80 to 120, right back to 90 or 87 or something like that. And so I like this moving forward personally, but yeah, those are the lists. And obviously the fintech names. Look at Dave. Dave looks phenomenal.
You've been on the Dave wagon for a minute.
Take a look at it.
I will. I was just drawing that range box. So
Yeah,
next time we talk about Disney, we have it right there.
absolutely. All right. Dave, clean, technical, big moves up, profitable growth, small cap. These are the stocks that are sitting underneath in your IWMs and your MDYs and stuff like that, right? So if these patterns
You got in Dave in the teens or the 20s, right? Or before.
my brother actually works there, so that's the reason I even know about it. And so, like, I don't talk to him about his company or his stock or anything. I mean, stock we talk about because he wants to obviously hear my technical analysis on it, but I don't know anything about what they do. But the reason I know about it is because he joined them about 3 years ago or 4 years ago. So um, we can only invest when his open periods are, which is like the week after earnings. So we can't time stuff the way other people can, unfortunately.
Looks great.
It's phenomenal. It's been nicely consolidating, big breakout, but yeah, these
This nice shot on Roblox. I was trying to reload uh in the upper 40s. I wanted 47. You see my alert there at 47.20. That's where my order was in. And oh, we just skimmed it. 47.95, 48.10. So do I get lucky enough to get another one? I don't know. But that's where I was wanting to add to my Roblox position.
okay. You sold out and then you bought back in.
No, no, no. I still have my initial
You
position
have
from
your initial. Okay.
30s. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So
That
yeah,
that one's been a miserable trader for the most part.
it has, but it looks like it I know you've heard us say this for over a year now. It really looks like it's ready. It's finally broken the range. Um, anyway, I really wanted to add some more in the 47. So Roblox is the name that I keep checking in on to put a little bit of that cash to work that I have sitting on the sidelines.
Yeah, I think Roblox looks great.
TTWO and EA fall into the same category group
ETW.
as Roblox, or
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, I would say EA definitely. I mean, they both have their own currency ecosystems that they have in their games, right?
sure.
I just think that Roblox is geared to the younger audience, which is probably apt to spend more money over the lifetime of said investment.
Sure.
But EA looks really good. Nice tight flag up there on the weekly. Looks a little hot, but other than that, I mean, I think EA looks really good. I don't really look at Take Two that much. Are you in Take Two? Do you look at it often, Nick? Or are you just
No,
curious?
I'm in EA and Roblox. The only reason I had TTWO on my radar, and for whatever reason kind of lost track of it, but NBG kind of talks about it quite a bit, so that's the only reason I kind of asked it. So they're the Grand Theft Auto, right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. I like the look.
We got some questions while we have like 5 or 10 minutes. You guys want to hit them?
Yeah, FYI, fear and greed index is neutral. I don't know if you heard us before.
Yeah, I said that right after you said I think it's neutral, and I was like, it is neutral.
Yeah.
Um, we've got. Can you look at the oil drillers? Val, NE, and TWE. Val is Valaris.
Why?
Yeah, I don't have a desire. Well, let's, instead of looking at those individual names, let's go to the oil services. Just treading water. I mean, could it go at some point? Yeah, but it doesn't I don't see a lot of life there. I don't know about you guys.
It could be potential bounce areas as the head and shoulders has played out in a lot of these, or the distributive patterns or whatever you want to call it. But they're in solid downtrends. TDW has gone from 111 to 47
Yeah.
in 6 months, right? Like you're in a distribution pattern and it could be potentially ending here, but you need to see buyers step in. You
This
need
is
to see.
definitely a spot that I would, if I were looking at this and looking to get in, this is a spot that I would be looking at a balance area. But when I'm looking, and you guys know how much I use volume, I practically just leave it on for GPs, love of GP basically. Look at all those red bars in a row. Like that's just hard for me to want to be involved with. But anything can trade, anything can bounce. I hope if you're doing it, you're in it, you're doing well. Or if you're short, congratulations. It's been a great short. NE Northeast Group. I don't know anything about them. Very limited chart history. Is that right?
Yeah, I
Nope.
don't know. Like these are not trending
No,
names.
that's
This is
not it.
not where money
Noble.
is
Noble
going.
Energy. Yeah, Noble is
Dude,
not
money's
doing.
not going into these. Look at if you want any idea of what's happening to the energy names, look at the famous Buffett's gonna save Occidental chart. Um,
Oxy puking it up.
how much did we talk about? This is just, Buffett's gonna have to buy it lower, right? It's
Puking it up. Puking it up.
yeah. So if Buffett can't save this, what the hell's gonna save your oil drillers?
Well, Shamsu brings up Square. I mean, this is not to say go buy Square, but this has gone through horrible downtrend and consolidation, and now you're seeing some up. And I'm not saying go buy Square right now, but it's a chart that looks much more appealing than those drillers.
Correct. And over 100 is when I think your momentum shifts, right? You're still that 100 goes back to the high from 2018, I believe.
Thoughts on cybersecurity names? Well, let's just start with the fan favorite. Everybody loves Crowd. There's CrowdStrike. Are you guys in any cyber names?
I'm
You
in
know I
ZS.
am.
Oh, yeah,
ZS.
okay.
Zscaler,
I think they look good. I think that they're just backfilling right now.
Palo Alto.
Yeah.
I mean, you've had a lot of names that have run, right? I mean, my play is Sentinel One. They had earnings, and they always puke it up after earnings. So I'll probably look to maybe add a little bit more to that. To
Crowd, I'm not allowed to
Microsoft.
talk about because technically it makes no sense to me.
Well, I'm
So
sorry, GP. What were you saying? I was speaking
the
over you.
crowd, I'm not allowed to talk about because technically it makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't talk about crowd, but I like Zscaler. I even posted about it. It has like 10 different things looking bullish for it. And so far, 2 days straight down.
Raul, we Raul Patel, we talked a little bit about Palantir and mega caps. Microsoft definitely fits in the mega cap conversation. So you can go back and check that out in a bit. Do you like
Yeah.
CBOE? I can't tell you the last time I looked up the CBOE chart. Um, I don't know, it looks a little toppy to me, but it could tread water up here for a long time.
I like ice better.
I do too. I always go to ice or the DAC.
Yeah, I don't like CBOE there. Um, nice NVIDIA hitting low of days.
1 to 5 years out. I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me to 1 to 5 years out. I mean, I imagine everything's higher, right? Like it's hard for me to say that I think things are going to fall off, especially the CBOE. Like they're not going to fall to zero in the next 5 years, but they go through periods just like everybody else of underperformance.
If you're asking me 5 years, I give you no advice. We literally just talked about
Yeah.
that SPY 771 level, banks being in their final stages, not final stages, imminent by like a month. I mean, like they're the last sector to rise, right? And banks, after 13 years of going sideways post GFC, went 2 years sideways, consolidating, just breaking out. So they're just starting their participation. Um,
Alexander GP posted about Zscaler, I think. So you can check up on his post to get more info about Zscaler if you would
yeah,
like to do so. I mean, you guys know I love megas, right? So I mean, if I'm talking, and this is not financial advice for anyone, but if you tell me I just got to sock some money away for 5 years, like get a dartboard and hit a mega cap, and there you go. You could do much worse off, in my opinion.
yeah. I would say Amazon probably falls into the probably the value trap conversation. It's the cheapest mega cap that exists. They're a behemoth. They do really well,
Amazon's a
but
value trap at 225, $225 at the value.
compared to the regular megas, I would say yes, because they have so many levers, right? They're not just retail, they are business, they are AI, they could potentially spin off their delivery arms, right? Like they have so much going for them, but they never get the same valuation upside that the other ones do, right? They're just consistent grow. So like if anywhere, this is where I would think about parking money.
It's what you want to see in a chart, up and to the right, up
Yep.
and to the right, up and to the right.
Mm.
But my thoughts. If we get to that kind of end of bull cycle conversations, there's only one thing you should be in. That's cash.
We have time for one or two more. Um, CVNA Carvana.
Looks like it's topping out. I was just looking at this chart.
If you've been long since $8, this is not financial advice, but I hope you've booked some profits.
Yeah, what a monster run.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, I think it's personally topping out, and that makes sense after the run it's had.
Let's look at
I
my favorite short, CarMax. Actually, CarMax is at the top of the range. It might be time to go short again, GP. I
Isn't
still
that this?
I still love the fact that I sold them my car twice, basically, from the short that I made on them. No, that was wonderful. Last one, COHR. Nicholas, you're up.
Yeah,
Cohere.
COHR was kind of, I mean, it's wild and loose right now. Um, I like it. I like to see it hold 90. If it undercut 90 and we got a retest of like the 200-day and the top of that the prior breakout at 80, I think would still look good, but if I was in an existing position, I wouldn't want to hold it under 90. Even if it breaks the 50-day, I'd probably be dumping it. The move that it had last week, I would have considered a breakout failure. So I probably see 107, 108, probably should have been dumping it. Which actually probably leads me to think that it is probably heading back to 90, and if anything, will undercut it. Definitely one to keep on the radar. Definitely not saying sell it if you're, I mean, if you're in a long time winner, but it's on my list. I've got alerts set on it.
Cool, cool, cool.
Yeah.
Just a programming update for all those, and thanks to everybody for showing up. Today was a great live turnout. We are going to try to do Tuesdays for the next week or so. I think next week for sure. Then we run into Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. So we'll let you know on next week's Tuesday show what that's going to look like. But we plan on doing the pod. Um, just been a little off schedule due to some life things, and hey, that happens. It's okay. But hey, thanks everybody for showing up. GP, thank you for your ever loving bullishness. I love you. And Nick, thank you for being the soothing words and voice of just calmness. Like, everything will be okay. I just want to just like when you talk so gently to us, I just want to grab your beard and just do one of those. Yeah,
Yeah.
just like that. Just
Make you
like
feel
that.
better.
Yeah, it's like Santa. When you're a kid and you go see Santa and you got to touch the beard, it's just like
For
that.
sure.
But hey guys, love you. Thanks for your patience with me on last week. But we'll be back with you next week.